Hi, I'm Didier. Welcome to the lab at La Maison du Whisky in Paris. Today we're going to talk about Chinato. So you may have heard of it, you may have not. It's a lot of people assimilate it to a vermouth. But we're going to find out more with Leonardo from Del Professore. Hi, Leonardo. How are you doing?
Hi, guys. It's nice to be here with you.
Great. So let's find out more about Chinato. So like I said, Chinato is very close to vermouth. It's a wine base, first of all, which is fortified with a distilled alcohol and then macerated as well with different botanics. So up to this point, we're really close to vermouth. Leonardo, what's the difference you're going to have between a vermouth and the Chinato?
So I'm going to explain a little bit what is Chinato. Chinato is a special kind of vermouth that was already considered a specialty during the 1800s. Essentially, is a classic vermouth that have some China calisaya, like a cinchona bark, added to the classic spices. The China calisaya give to the vermouth a different kind of bitterness. Normally in vermouth, the bitterness come from the artemisia, from the gentian, from the aloe, but China calisaya is have a specific kind of bitterness that it's really nice, intense, and so in the past they when they start to look for different kind of vermouth, when vermouth starts to be really popular, they start to explore this new category, the Chinato. We have mention of the Chinato already at the end of 1800s, so 80, 90, and it was considered like a kind of a special vermouth.
And about the wine base, so I first discovered Chinato through Barolo Chinato, Barolo being the famous red wine from the Piemonte region. I don't know if that's the most common, but at least that's what you see the most over here. You guys use a different wine base. I think it's a Barbera grape base. Could you tell us a little bit more about that? What are you looking for in a base wine to make a good Chinato?
Really important things. We don't have to do confusion between Barolo Chinato, Vino Chinato, and Vermouth Chinato. So the Barolo Chinato is like a classic Barolo infused with cinchona bark. And it's not a vermouth. We also have a Vino Chinato, that is a generic wine that is also infused with spices and essentially with quina, with cinchona bark. Vermouth Chinato is totally different things. Is a vermouth where quina, cinchona bark is added. So essentially is a kind of as I told you before, is a special vermouth, is a different style of vermouth. In the past, vermouth had different kind of like a style. For example, there was vanilla vermouth, Chinato vermouth, Amaro vermouth, Barolo vermouth. So there was in the past, when vermouth was super popular and people was drinking a lot of vermouth, there was a vermouth for everybody. So every producer starts to explore different spices, so we can find a lot of different style of vermouth, and Chinato was one of the most popular. For example, the Chinato vermouth was the vermouth that a lot of people prefer to prepare the Milano Torino or to prepare the classic Americano, because in Italy we really like this different kind of bitterness, this deep bitterness of the cinchona bark and of the quina. What we really like is that the vermouth Chinato is really smooth with this deep bitterness, and for us it's perfect to make classic Italian drinks like Negroni, Americano, and so on. In Italy we really love like this bitterness, and so we like to explore different kind of bitterness.
And so the quinine, exactly. Could you tell us a little bit more what it is, where it comes from?
The Cinchona officinalis, cinchona bark, is a spice that starts to be really popular because it was used to extract quinine that was helping people to fight the fever, the yellow fever. This spice, this bark, starts to be used in a lot of different wine, flavored wine. Also in France, you have a lot of wine flavored with cinchona bark, and starts to be used the middle of 1800, 80, 70, 80, 80, to create a different style of vermouth. And Chinato is essentially this vermouth that contains cinchona bark. Is a very interesting bitterness from these barks that comes originally from South America. Essentially, we can find that in Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, and Bolivia. Like in Italy, starts to be really popular, and we have a lot of amaros that develop their products using the cinchona bark as base. It's a very interesting like bitter profile. If you like bitterness, you have to love cinchona bark.
And so, how is Chinato traditionally consumed in Italy? Is it more of a kind of an aperitivo, an after dinner, on the rocks? Tell us a bit more about that.
As all the vermouth, in Italy, we like to drink it neat if it's good. Like in Italy, there's a lot of vermouth, like all around the world, but most of the vermouth are produced to be mixed. The professor have a different philosophy. We want our vermouth to be very good to be cocktail ingredients, but have to be very good to be drink neat. So we like to drink our Chinato straight up, chill it from the fridge. I really don't like with ice, but if you like, you can add it. Or with a splash of soda. Splash of soda is always perfect, like a very chill soda, and boom, and it works really well. What I can suggest to you also to try like the Chinato if you want a really smooth Manhattan, if you want a very smooth Negroni, try the Chinato because give you something more, something different from classic vermouth. It works really well with rye. It works really well with with gin, and is the perfect match, in a perfect Americano. So I suggest you neat, a splash of soda, or if you want a smooth cocktail, try the Chinato.
And so, what are some more kind of innovative, modern ways to drink it? I mean, I've seen it a lot with tonic water or in cocktails, for example. How do you suggest to try that?
When vermouth are good, you can mix it in a different way. In Italy now, eyeball is really coming back a little bit like all around the world. But instead to explore all these crazy preparation makes with rotovat and all these kind of things, we really like vermouth with a lot of different style of soda. In Italy, we mix vermouth with Chinato soda. It's a very interesting one. We also have cedrata. Vermouth and cedrata, it's amazing. It's very good with another soda drink that is called gazzosa. It works really well with vermouth. It's perfect if you want to try with an homemade coffee soda. Or not homemade if you can find one. It works really well with tonic water, with different kind of tonic water. If you have a tonic water with a little bit of a citrus, it works really well. The citrusy notes is the perfect match, for vermouth that have the barbera inside, that cinchona bark, so it's very round, smooth. And if you have a little bit of citrusy notes, it works really well. It gives you a little bit of freshness, perfect. But you really like vermouth is a crazy drink because you can mix it with a lot of things, and it always really well. I've never said that to you, but you can try it with cola. It works really well. Vermouth and cola, is amazing. But I've never say that, you know.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Leonardo.
Bye bye guys, thank you very much. Merci beaucoup à tout le monde pour être été avec nous. Ciao. J'espère de vous voir bientôt en France. Ciao.
And so if you like what you see, give us a thumbs up, follow us for more. And so the question of the day for the comments is about Quina. So a lot of people confuse Quina with Chinato. It's a different spirit altogether. And let us know if you think you know what it is in the comments. And see you next time.